My Game Week 3 score predictions for the 2022/23 EFL Championship season. This week, we've got some pretty tough fixtures to try and predict, but let's just get straight into it anyway. We start off at Ellen Road, where Leeds United take on West Bromwich Albion. Leeds United, in their last game, a 1-0 defeat against Birmingham City. They conceded that last-minute penalty. Ended up losing the game 1-0. West Bromwich Albion were 3-2 winners over Swansea City. Leeds United still yet to pick up a win so far this season, and I think they'll do it in this game. I'm going to go for a 2-1 Leeds United victory. Next up is Plymouth Argyle taking on Southampton. This one's going to be a pretty interesting one, obviously, with Plymouth Argyle just coming up from League One and Southampton just getting relegated from the Premier League. Plymouth Argyle, they've had a really good start to their season. Started off, could say maybe it was a Huddersfield Town that are pretty poor at the moment, but they did beat Huddersfield Town 3-1 on opening day. They got a pretty good 0-0 draw against Watford. Bear in mind, Watford did beat Queen's Park Rangers 4-0. Yes, it's a poor Queen's Park Rangers side, but still to beat someone 4-0. Pretty impressive. Southampton, they've got off to a pretty good start. Also, a 2-1 win over Sheffield Wednesday on opening day. And then the most recent result, a 4-4 draw against Norwich City. I've got to back Southampton for this one. I don't think Plymouth will be able to get one. And I'm going to go for a 3-0 Southampton victory in this one. We now move on to Ewood Park, where Blackburn Rovers taking on Hull City. Blackburn picked up a 2-2 draw against Rotherham United. Of course, they were losing that game 2-0. Rotherham went down to 10 men and then they pulled it back and picked up a 2-2 draw. Hull City, a 4-2 victory over Sheffield Wednesday in their last game. I'm going to back both sides to score in this one, but I fancy Blackburn to pick up all 3 points in this game, 2-1. We move on now to Ashton Gate, where Bristol City take on Birmingham City. Bristol picking up a 1-0 victory over Millwall in their last game. Birmingham City, of course, as I mentioned above, last-minute penalty against Leeds United, 1-0 win. Both sides got off to a good start. I think these two, though, a point apiece for me. I'm going to go for a score draw, 1-1 in this one. And then we move on to the King Power, where Leicester City are taking on Cardiff City. Leicester City got off to an amazing start, 2 wins out of 2. Just a narrow 1-0 win over Huddersfield Town in their last game, but 3 points is 3 points against the Cardiff City side, who lost 2-1 to Queen's Park Rangers. They were pretty poor in their last game. And I fancy Leicester City at home as well to pick up all 3 points. And I'm going to go for a 2-0 Leicester City win in this one. Nice, comfortable one, not too high. But next up is Middlesbrough against Huddersfield Town. Middlesbrough, not the start they were hoping for, considering the season they had last season. Obviously, they were 3rd place in the playoffs. Currently right at the bottom of the table. 0 points picked up so far. They are playing a Huddersfield Town side who are, again, yet to pick up any points this season also. But I expect Middlesbrough to pick up their first win of the season. Huddersfield Town, it's going to be another struggle for them this season. They did pretty well in their last game against Leicester City. They had some pretty good chances, only the narrow 1-0 defeat as well. But I do think Middlesbrough are going to get a nice, comfortable win in this one. 3-1 Middlesbrough win. I do think Huddersfield will manage to get one, but 3 points for Middlesbrough in this one. We move on now to Loftus Road, where Queen's Park Rangers take on Ipswich Town. This one is going to be another one of those games that really anything can happen. Queen's Park Rangers, of course, they had a pretty horrid season last season. They started off the season with a 4-0 defeat against Watford. Pulled it back in their last game, picking up all 3 points against Cardiff City, where they did win that game 2-1. Playing an Ipswich Town side, that so far, obviously, 2 out of 2. A 2-1 victory over Sunderland and a 2-0 victory over Stoke City, which was pretty impressive, seeing that Stoke City did score 4 on their opening day. Ipswich Town are the favourites coming into this one, but I just think Queen's Park Rangers, there's just going to be something about them this season where they're going to pick up results where no one's going to expect them to. So I'm going to go for a 2-2 draw in this one. We move on now to Hillsborough, where Sheffield Wednesday take on Preston North End. Sheffield Wednesday, again, another team that's yet to get off the mark. Started off with a 2-1 defeat against Southampton on opening day. Their most recent defeat, 4-2 against Hull City. For me, Preston North End, they've had a really good start to the season. Obviously, with me being a North End fan, picked up a good point against Bristol City and beat Sunderland 2-1, who were absolutely amazing last season. Coming to Hillsborough, it's always a tough place for us to go. I think we can nick something from this game, though. I'm going to go for the narrow 1-0 away win for us. I know Sheffield Wednesday have managed to score in their last 2 games, but whenever there's a game against Preston, it always tends to be quite low scoring. Preston tend to have quite a tight defence, and that's why I think that it's just going to be a low scorer in this one, but I do think we'll pick up all 3 points. We move on to the Bet365 Stadium, where we've got another one of games where pretty much anything can happen, where Stoke City take on Watford. What's going to happen here? Stoke City, amazing first game of the season, absolutely smashing Rotherham 4-1. Watford obviously had a good opening day themselves, beating Queen's Park Rangers 4-0. Watford's most recent game, though, was drawing 0-0 to Plymouth Argyle. And then, as well as deciding who's going to win the game, how many goals are going to be in this game, considering that, you know, we've seen that both of these sides can score absolutely tons of goals, but then also on another day, just not score any. I'm going to go for a high-scoring game, and I'm going to back a Watford win, a 3-2 away win for them. We move on to the Stadium of Light, where Sunderland take on Rotherham United. Sunderland, again, the same as Middlesbrough, not the start that they would have hoped for. 2-1 defeats against Ipswich and Preston North End. Rotherham United did hold a 2-0 lead against Blackburn Rovers in their last game before they did get a man sent off, and then ended up drawing that one 2-2. But I back Sunderland to pick up their first win of the season, their first points of the season. I'm going to go for a 2-0 home win. We move on to the Swansea.com Stadium, where Swansea take on Coventry City. Swansea City in their last game lost to West Bromwich Albion 3-2. Of course, they were behind 3-0. They managed to grab 2 goals back, but it ended up not being enough for them. They are playing a Coventry City side who has just recently beat Middlesbrough 3-0. But Coventry do have a really poor record when they do face the Swans. So I'm going to go for a draw in this one, 1-1. And then we finish off at Loftus Road, where Norwich City take on Millwall. Norwich City picked up a 4-4 draw against Southampton in their last game, which has got to be, you know, probably one of the best games that we're ever going to see, at least for this month. You know, it might be game of the season, that one already, but, you know, still time for absolutely anything to happen. Obviously, it is the Championship, but a really good game between Norwich and Southampton, facing Millwall, who did narrowly lose out to Bristol City in their last game with a 1-0 defeat. I'm going to back Norwich City to pick up 3 points in this one, and I'm going to go for a 2-1 home win. And that wraps up my Game Week 3 score predictions. If you did enjoy, please do leave a like and subscribe to the channel, and I will see you all in my next video.